Hey guys, so welcome to this video of this 36 tips with sneaker sketch challenge. And I completed this challenge in 7 meters in 4 days with a total of 10 hours and 30 minutes of sketching. And I recommend you guys to join me, so go on Photoshop, image, canvas size, and choose in the width 700 centimeters. Alright. So before getting started, I recommend you guys to subscribe on the blog for your free beginner guides on the designsketchbook.com, link in the description. So the tip number 1 is a warm-up time. So draw some ellipses, some circles, some straight lines, and this is something which is really going to help you before each session of sketching to warm up the muscles of your hand. I'm really happy to do this series of sketching tips because it's something that I can go much further and step by step in my sneaker sketching course that I'm launching for you guys. So to get more information about it, just make sure to register to the blog to get more information on this and to not miss out the news about it. Let's carry on with the tip number 2, draw the shoe last first. So I invite you to observe these few lines that I start before the design of this shoe, because this is what is called the shoe last, which is a standard shape of the foot, which allow me to drop down the proportion first and then focus on the design, because it's really tough for the brain to focus on both at the same time. I have divided these two steps to make sure that they are separate and making sure that your creativity is optimum. Tip 3, so celebrate progress. I really invite you, especially if you're a beginner, to celebrate every tiny steps that you're making and not getting frustrated by the end result, because every tiny step that you make is a success toward your goal. Tip 4, save often, because it's something that can happen pretty much when your software crash, when you file get corrupted and so on. Something that can happen, and that could be really a pity if you're not saving like hours and hours of sketching and works. Alright, so make sure that you got this as a habit and everything will be fine. Tip 5, add a quick pattern. So the quick pattern, like as you can see on the switch here, is something that can help for contrast and fun. So tip 6, and sketch with dynamism, that you can add also in the props such as a lace, as you can see here. Tip 7, clean up for clarity if you're on Photoshop, so if all the lines get more clear. Tip 8, be imperfect. Draw as well with some lines which are also quite messy, but keep fluid as well, because when you are going to experiment some lines that are very messy and some lines that are very neat, you are going to have a sensitive language of forms and expression. So go from general and details. As you can see from the last to the details, there is a lot of things happening, but I always go like, imagine that you're building a house. You're not going to start with the door, but with a foundation, and that's the same with the shoe here. Okay, choose a form language. So for that thing, you have to feel it, because when you are drawing with your emotions, and try to get this emotion translated all along your design. It's like if your design is, let's say, angry, so draw with some angry lines. If it's smoother, draw with some softer lines. This is an expression, the sketch is your expression of your design. Tip 11, so convey a story. So this is something as a designer you need to be really empathic and be able to translate your emotion or a story into your design. Like let's say you get inspired from something minimalist, try to choose a line that is going to translate that. Tip 12, highlight the focus point. So in your design you can choose where you want the eyes is going to stop in the design. For example, here on the front where the logo is on the strap, this is where I want the composition of my design to all the lines convey to that direction. And this is what you can play in your design, is that when you choose your focus point, all the language, all the line are going to be supportive to that. For example, here I'm highlighting the needs on the side for the support, because this is what I want to convey the most. So making sure that your design is not too complicated, even if it has a lot of details, but serve and support your message. Tip 13, expand your library of forms. So it's one thing to know about some existing design, but it's another one to draw them. So if you have some design in mind, so feel free to take notes and sketch them from memory, because it's going to feed your memory of forms for your body, but also for your brain. Tip 14, so create on the flow. So when you start a sketch, you don't have to get a 100% clear picture in your mind. Just drop some line and sculpt it along the way. Tip 15, use icon of design as reference. So instead of reinventing the wheels, you can just get inspiration from some icon of design. Some here, for example here, the Prada building in Tokyo. So the tip 16 is to twist them. So as soon as you get some inspiration from them, you can feel free to transform them, to reinterpret this type of design and see what you can do from your own interpretation. Tip 17, your sketches are no pressures. Of course you love sketching, but make sure that you don't fall in love with your ideas and your sketches, because this is what is going to make you lose up subjectivity and might not serve your purpose in the long term. Make sure that your sketches, like when you feel like it's not right, feel free to just redo another one. Tip 18, quantity matters. So in the brief or the project, you're going to throw away 90% of your sketching at the end of your project. But you can't go without them because they have been the path of creativity, they have been the path of the quality and result of the end proposals. Tip 19, explore faster with thumbnails. So a great way to have a lot of ideas on the spot is to draw with very small sketches and multiplicate them like rabbits on your paper, because this is what you want, is to gain in productivity. Tip 20 here is to highlight your details separately. So whenever you want to focus on something, just draw it on the side. Tip 21, feel free to illustrate. So for this shoe, the outsole was inspired from the Castle in the Sky from Miyazaki. So you can add some little clouds, some little scene around just to make it more fun. Alright. Tip 22, use hatching for clarity. So whenever you want to separate some pieces, for example, you can add some hatching, making sure that they are regular, so it's just the overall of your sketch will be neat, even if you will sketch with some dirty lines. Tip 23, do not finish a sketch is okay. So as you can see here, I'm just dropping some ideas here. You don't have to sketch only finish design of footwear. You can just drop some ideas and come back to them anytime later. It's all fine. You just you are doodling to take notes, and this is what you have to remember when you want to create, is that you take notes like what you would do on a notebook, but you do it here with some sketches. Tip 24, your ideas flow in multiple sketches. So basically you can, whenever you got an idea, feel free to make variation. Tip 25, go impossible. So it's whenever you have an idea which is pretty crazy, it's not feasible, but that's fine because it's just a sketch, and it's always better to go very far away in your ideas and then tone down to make this reality. Tip 26, go simple. Basically when you sketch and you try to make somehow the race of the innovation, you tend to do something as a beginner mistake is always going into complicated things, complicated details, overwhelming of details and functions. And it's good to sometimes just have a brief and go for something more simple, more classic. And from there you can add some extra functions, like for example the upper, which is the above part of the shoe, and the outsole, which can be actually more complicated or having something more specific to illustrate it. And that will look also pretty nice as well. Tip 27, sketch for 30 minutes and more. So basically I really invite you to sketch as long as you can, but whenever you have the time or not, try to block at least a minimum of 30 minutes, because this is really what is going to give you enough time to go into that bubble of concentrations, and this is when you really have fun, because you can go to a sketch to another, to extend your ideas, to duplicate them, to modify them, and try to see how you can always get better and better. And this is what is going to drive us to the next tip 28, to enjoy the process. And basically this is also about avoiding procrastinations, because enjoying the process is actually enjoying drawing, enjoying sketching, and not only the end result, because you like and you love the act of sketching, because this is what is making you in a certain way in the field of meditation, in the field of confidence, in the field of something which is just a time which is owned by you. And this is quite intimate, but this is something that we really appreciate to translate in sketches to show to people. Tip 29, dare to go different. There is one thing is to know, is that it's really easy to be unique and different, but that doesn't mean it's something good. But whenever like you sketch and are still at the beginner, you need to find your style, you need to see what your sensitivity, and this is what is pretty exciting, is that there is a lot of things to discover about yourself. And whenever like you sketch, try to go different, try to go out of your comfort zone and things that you have never tried before, because this is what you may surprise yourself and see like you may have some affinity with them, and will be worth to develop further. Tip 30, add stitches. Okay, here is more of a graphic tips. Basically, if you're using Photoshop, what I recommend you to do is to draw a straight line, and then you choose the eraser, and then with the eraser, just by intermittent, erase your lines to create some stitches that are going to be super neat. 31, play with the line weight. As you can see, is that all the sketches that I do start with a very light pen pressure, and then on top of it I can use with some borderline, and this is what I will choose on the element that I want to focus or not, and also to give more dynamism to the sketches. This is what, like when you use a borderline, you need to train your pen pressure and to make sure that you can have the highest variety, highest number of variety of pen pressure. As you know, like when you get iPad or Wacom tablet, it's really well known to see the number of pen pressure that you have: 256, 512, or 1024, and so on and so on. So this is how you try to get with your hands, is to get as many as you can. Tip 32, show your ideas in perspective. But first of all, before that, you have to know that within the industry, the most of the projects that you're going to make and to show are going to be presented with a side view, as most of the design are symmetrical. But I highly recommend you guys to draw with a perspective as well, to give more impact to your presentation and also show things that a side view can't represent. Tip 33, set up a scene with minimal lines. So basically what I'm going to do here is to give more charisma to this design, to represent like the ground, the environment, with the XYZ axis that I draw with arrows, and this ellipse that somehow give like a highlight, a focus on it. Tip 34, explore other footwear style. So even though we are drawing sneakers, as we have studied by drawing the shoe last, you're actually able to draw also different type of styles, such as this kind of slingback right here, that we can give some sport attitude into it. Tip 35, underline your notes. So whenever you want to add some information, if you have a really bad handwriting or something, the quick tip is to do the underline first and then write on top of it, which is something that will help you to have a neater notes into it. Tip 36, the refine time. So this is one of my favorite time of the sketches, is when the biggest amount of work has been done behind, and then you can just spend some time for adding some hatching, creating more contrast, adding some shadows, maybe refining the logo, the compositions. See what you can do more to give a bit more spice to your sketches, and really having a relaxing time at this moment. I hope you enjoy this series of tips, this series of 36 tips of the sneaker sketching challenge, that I really invite you to participate as well, because it's something that can really help you to improve so much in a few days only, having sketching for 10 hours and 30 in just 4 days. And it's something that is going to push you out of your comfort zone if you are not used to draw every day. So yeah, so make a go on this 7 meter of sketching challenge, and if you're a beginner, feel free to start with 1 meter or 2 meters. It will be already a big jump for a start. Alright, so if you want to get some more information about the sneaker sketching course that I'm launching, so feel free to click on the link below, and see you for the next videos. Bye bye.